Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a pretty big question, one lots of us are thinking about. How is early exposure to conversational AI affecting kids?
Yeah, those chatbots, they're everywhere now. We're focusing on that 6 to 12 age group.
Exactly. And we've pulled together quite a range of material, developmental theories from Piaget and Erickson, what schools are aiming for in places like Australia and the US.
Curriculum standards. Plus, we've got recent case studies from maybe 2020 up to now, and guidelines from groups like the AAP, UNICEF.
Right, the experts.
Yeah.
And what jumps out almost immediately looking at all this is this idea of a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. It's clear there's some really core skills, foundational things that kids probably need to develop more independently without AI stepping in too much.
But then, on the flip side, there's this potential for AI, if you use it carefully, to actually maybe augment certain areas, give kids a bit of a boost.
Right. So that's our goal today, really unpack that for you, the listener, help you get a clearer handle on navigating this rapidly changing tech landscape without feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, let's dive in. Thinking about those core skills first.
Yeah.
What are the big ones our sources say need protecting? The ones best developed without AI?
Well, a really huge one is sustained reading comprehension. The sources are pretty emphatic about the importance of human guidance here.
Human guidance, okay.
Yeah, think about something called dialogic reading. That's that back and forth conversation an adult and child have about a book.
Right. Not just reading the word.
Exactly. It's asking questions, talking about it, connecting it to their life, that richness, that relationship. A chatbot just can't replicate that meaningfully.
So dialogic reading. Could you maybe unpack that a bit more? What does that actually look like?
Sure. It's basically interactive reading. The adult doesn't just read to the child, they read with them, asking, what do you think will happen next? Or how do you think that character feels?
Got it. Making it a real conversation.
Precisely. And that active engagement is crucial for building deep understanding. It's not just decoding. Pisa's work really points to this age group learning by doing and thinking. Relying too much on AI could short-circuit that whole meaning-making process.
That makes total sense. It's about grappling with the text yourself. And it connects to other things too, right? Like perspective taking. Piaget talked about that developing now.
Absolutely. Understanding characters, seeing different viewpoints. That grows through discussion and reflection, which is harder if an AI just gives you a summary.
And critical thinking flows from that too.
Right.
Which is, a major goal in school curriculums like the U.S. Common Core or the Australian one.
Right. If the AI does the heavy lifting of understanding, the child isn't building those mental muscles themselves. Which links straight into another key area, hands-on problem solving.
Yes, that need for kids to actually wrestle with problems, to get stuck sometimes even.
Make mistakes, try again. That's how they build resilience and those metacognitive skills thinking about their own thinking.
Piaget saw that too, right? How kids this age start solving logical problems with real stuff they can touch and see.
Exactly, and you see it in educational standards too. Common Core math practice number 1 is all about making sense of problems and persevering.
Persevering, yeah, that's the key word.
Right. If an AI jumps in with the answer straight away, the child misses that whole vital process. That struggle is where the learning happens.
We even saw schools banning AI initially because of exactly that fear that it would just erode kids' ability to think for themselves.
Yeah, that knee-jerk reaction highlighted a real concern. You don't build mental stamina with constant shortcuts.
Okay, what about creativity? Imaginative free play? That seems like another big one to protect.
Oh, absolutely fundamental. Erickson's stages talk about developing initiative, industry, feeling competent. Unstructured play is where so much of that happens.
Away from screens, just playing.
Yes, and experts really worry about screen time displacing that. Pediatricians, educators, they emphasize open-ended play. Montessori, Waldorf approaches are built on it.
Even the idea of letting kids be bored sometimes. So they have to generate their own ideas.
Definitely. Boredom can be a real catalyst for creativity. You can't really outsource that imaginative spark to an AI. It has to come from within.
Agreed. Okay, another crucial skill, focus. Attention regulation. That seems really important in this digital age.
It really is. Middle childhood is a key time for developing executive functions, the brain's management system. Planning, focusing, impulse control.
Skills that, yeah, could be challenged by constant, quick digital stimulation.
That's the worry. If AI and media offer rapid-fire entertainment, it might condition kids to expect that constant novelty, making it harder to sustain attention on, say, homework or a book.
We see research linking heavy screen use and attention issues, and the AAP warns about media multitasking too.
Right. That ability to just sit with a task needs practice. Developmentally, we know things like routines, self-regulation techniques, Vygotsky's ideas, they help build that focus.
So things like device-free homework time, screen-free bedtime routines,
Yeah.
they become even more critical.
They really do. It's about building that attention endurance.
Okay, let's shift to communication. Oral storytelling. This age seems prime time for that.
It really is. Their vocabulary explodes. They learn to structure narratives, explain things. It's foundational for later reading and writing.
It develops through talking with people, right?
Oh.
Getting that feedback, those social cues.
Exactly. A patient human listener, a parent, a teacher provides feedback, asks clarifying questions, nonverbal cues like nods, smiles. An AI conversation is different. It lacks that genuine social reciprocity.
Yeah, an AI won't necessarily react if a child is unclear or maybe even a bit rude in the same way a person would. That feedback matters.
It does. And best practice in education encourages kids to describe and summarize in their own words. The expert consensus is pretty strong. Direct conversation with caregivers is unparalleled for language development.
Absolutely. Okay, moving into the social-emotional realm. Empathy and emotional intelligence. These seem vital to protect too.
Hugely important. This is when empathy really starts to blossom through cooperative play, learning to see others' perspectives, like Selman's stages describe.
And these skills are learned in real relationships,
Yeah.
right? Comforting a friend, figuring out why your sibling is upset.
Precisely. You see it explicitly in frameworks like the Australian curriculum's personal and social capability. The concern with AI is obvious. It doesn't feel. It can't genuinely reciprocate emotion.
So you can't really learn genuine empathy from something that doesn't experience emotions itself.
Exactly. There's a risk of missed opportunities for building real empathy, or even kids getting maybe overly attached to an AI that's always agreeable but ultimately empty.
And skills like reading facial expressions, understanding tone of voice that needs live, human feedback.
Definitely. Which leads right into conflict resolution and social skills generally, navigating the social world.
Another area where real-world practice seems irreplaceable.
Fundamental. For peer relationships, for later life, Erickson's industry versus inferiority stage involves learning to work and play with others. That means handling disagreements.
Learning to negotiate, compromise, control your impulses.
All learned best in real social situations with real feelings and consequences involved. Again, the Australian curriculum emphasizes resolving conflict constructively.
And an AI just can't simulate that messiness, the emotions, the stakes of a real argument with a friend.
No, it won't get genuinely frustrated or have its own agenda. So that coaching from a teacher or parent, helping kids work through it, that's irreplaceable. AI arbitration just misses the point.
Okay, one last area under protect. Self-efficacy and confidence. That I can do it feeling.
Absolutely crucial, especially in Erickson's industry stage. It's built by finishing tasks independently, seeing yourself improve, getting that I did this myself buzz.
And AI providing instant answers or constant corrections could really undermine that.
Right. It's like learning to ride a bike. Need to wobble, maybe fall, to get that real sense of accomplishment when you finally do it. If AI is always the training wheels.
You miss the wobble and the win. It's that struggle and success cycle.
Yeah.
Good teaching is about scaffolding, guiding, not just giving the answer.
Exactly. It aligns with educational goals around building personal capabilities, self-worth. So, the big theme here is these foundational human skills need real-world interaction and experience. AI's role should be minimal, if any, in their core development.
Okay, that's a really clear picture of the skills we need to guard. But like we said, double-edged sword.
Yeah.
So, where can AI potentially help? Where might responsible integration be beneficial?
Well, one area that comes up consistently is vocabulary and language development. AI chatbots can be incredibly patient language partners.
Patient, right? Doesn't get tired of defining words.
Exactly. And there's research, like Dr. Ying-Shu's work, suggesting AI real companions can actually boost vocabulary and even comprehension by prompting kids to think about word meanings.
And the personalization aspect seems key too. Tailoring interaction to a specific child's needs, maybe if they're shy or need extra practice.
Yes. The AI can repeat things endlessly without judgment, and when parents get involved, using something like ChatGPT together to look up words, see examples, it can be a great springboard.
Using it as a tool together. That makes sense. What about just sparking curiosity? Kids ask so many questions.
That's another promising area, knowledge, curiosity, and inquiry. AI can be amazing for answering those endless why questions instantly. Even the AAP Notes digital tools can be good for knowledge acquisition, used thoughtfully.
Yeah, a kid asking an AI about dinosaurs or planets.
Yeah,
It can feed that natural desire to learn.
absolutely. And the non-judgmental aspect helps. Kids might ask AI silly questions they'd hesitate to ask an adult. But again, parental involvement is key. Co-searching, verifying the info.
Right, checking the AI's work. And we're seeing AI Q&A used in classrooms too.
Yeah, for enrichment, sparking ideas. It's starting to happen.
Interesting. Okay, you mentioned AI as a potential story buddy. How does it help with storytelling or creativity?
Generative AI can be a creative catalyst. It can give prompts, help structure a story, even co-create. This could be great for kids who struggle to get started or organize their thoughts.
Like that idea of a parent and child using ChatGPT together to get past writer's block.
Exactly. The AI gives a starting point, but the child is still driving the story. There are also AI apps for making storybooks, which can be really motivating.
But the key is the child stays in control creatively.
Absolutely. AI offers options, but the child makes the choices. Educators are trying collaborative story generation with AI, too.
Okay, what about something like coding? That seems intimidating for some kids. Can AI help there?
It definitely seems to lower the barrier. Platforms like Scratch are adding AI extensions, letting kids play with basic AI concepts in their own projects.
So they learn about things like training data, simple logic, in a hands-on way, like Code.org's AI for oceans.
Yeah, it makes abstract concepts more concrete. But it's crucial to use vetted, kid-friendly educational tools, not just general AI. And adult guidance is still vital.
Pairing kids up on projects with AI help sounds good too. Collaboration.
And teaching them about AI itself, demystifying it.
Good point. Now, personalized learning. That's often touted as a big AI benefit.
It is a strong area. AI can adapt to a child's pace, giving extra practice where needed, moving ahead when they're ready. Think AI math tutors identifying specific weak spots.
That immediate feedback and infinite patience seems like a huge advantage, especially for kids hesitant to ask a teacher again.
Definitely. But, and this is important, it should complement teacher instruction, not replace it. Parents can use it for homework hints too, but guiding thinking, not just giving answers.
Maybe getting the child to explain the AI's answer back, the think aloud idea.
Great strategy. Make sure they're actually processing it. Even voice assistants for quick facts can be useful, with caveats about over-reliance.
Okay, and lastly, what about support for kids with special educational needs?
This looks really promising. AI tools for speech therapy, social skills practice for kids with autism using avatars, adjusting reading difficulty for dyslexia, augmentative communication.
Wow, that sounds like it could offer much more tailored practice and support than might be possible otherwise.
It could. But consultation with specialists, psychologists, therapists is essential. And privacy is paramount. AI might spot patterns of confusion to create targeted exercises, which is powerful.
So across all these augment areas, that theme of guided, purposeful use with adult involvement keeps coming back.
It's absolutely the key thread. Supervision, co-use, clear goals, critical thinking prompts, that's how you potentially harness the benefits safely. AI is a tool, not a replacement.
Okay, so we have the potential benefits, the augmentation side. But let's pivot back to the risks. The potential downsides our sources raise about too much or the wrong kind of AI exposure.
Right, because the potential pitfalls are significant too. A major one is dependency and over-reliance.
Like a mental crutch.
Exactly. If AI is always there with the answer, the idea, the emotional support, kids might not develop their own ability to think independently, solve problems, or cope with difficult feelings. It's like using a calculator before you learn basic math.
It could hinder developing those foundational skills. If an AI will write the essay outline, why bother learning how to structure your thoughts?
Precisely. It could lead to shallower understanding, reduced capacity for independent learning. And that dependency can bleed into emotional areas too.
If they always turn to an AI friend when upset.
They might not learn healthy self-soothing strategies or how to seek support from real people.
And that connects to motivation, doesn't it? Reduced intrinsic motivation.
Yes, if AI offers constant easy wins and shortcuts, that inner drive to learn for the satisfaction of it might weaken. Learning often involves effort, even boredom.
And overcoming that effort builds pride. If AI removes the struggle.
They might lose that sense of ownership, that patience for harder tasks, that why bother if the machine does it. Mindset is a worry, weakens resilience.
And what about the impact on how they learn to learn? Metacognition.
Impaired metacognition is a real risk. If AI always guides the next step, they don't practice self-monitoring, planning, evaluating their own understanding.
Like following an AI recipe versus figuring out how to cook it yourself. They might struggle when the AI isn't there.
Exactly. They might not learn how to learn effectively, and just blindly trusting AI output hinders critical thinking, verifying, analyzing.
All contributing to potentially decreased resilience and perseverance. Fewer chances for that productive struggle.
Absolutely. Lower frustration tolerance, like those bike training wheels never coming off. Instant gratification from AI makes managing boredom or confusion harder.
What about their own creativity? You said AI could be a catalyst, but could it also stifle it?
That's the paradox. If kids rely too heavily on AI-generated ideas or images, their own original output might suffer. Their drawing, their writing style might become less unique.
Because AI often produces sort of formulaic stuff.
Right. It could inadvertently encourage thinking inside the box, preferring safe, generic solutions over creative risks, missing that messy, valuable trial and error process.
And finally, the risk of misinformation. Weakened critical thinking if they just trust the AI.
Huge concern. AI can be confidently wrong. Young kids are naturally trusting. Assuming the AI is always right prevents developing healthy skepticism and fact-checking habits.
Especially with that authoritative tone AI often has. Media literacy education becomes even more vital.
Definitely. So yeah, excessive or unsupervised AI use could really impact cognitive development long-term.
Okay, let's dig into the ethical, emotional, and social side now. This feels really complex.
It is, because kids this age are actively forming attachments, learning social rules. Introducing AI as a new kind of social partner raises big questions.
Like digital attachment and anthropomorphism. Treating AI like it's human.
Yeah, kids saying, "Alexa's my friend." It seems innocent, but what are they actually getting back? AI lacks genuine empathy. It simulates care, but doesn't feel it. Kids might not grasp that difference.
And that trust can be misplaced, right? We've seen examples of AI giving dangerous or inappropriate advice.
Exactly. Plus, ethical worries about kids sharing personal info or even preferring AI over human interaction because it's always agreeable.
If the AI never disagrees, it could make real friendships seem harder. Maybe they withdraw.
That's a fear. Or the opposite, learning they can be rude or demanding to AI without consequence and having that bleed into real interactions.
The Amazon magic word feature, asking kids to say please to Alexa, highlights that concern.
It really does. The core question is, how do these interactions subtly change a child's ability to relate to actual humans?
And what about emotional regulation? Managing feelings. Some parents use tech to calm kids.
But research suggests that can hinder kids developing their own self-regulation skills. AI could amplify this.
Like an AI becoming a 247 emotional pacifier.
Yeah, if they always turn to a chatbot when upset, they don't practice healthy coping strategies. AI offers words, but not real empathy or effective coping skills teaching.
There's a risk they become reliant on it as an emotional crutch, withdrawing from real people for support.
And it's not just negative emotions, maybe managing excitement too. Effective computing tries to make AI seem cheerful, but it's not a substitute for real connection or learning emotional balance. And AI is definitely not a therapist.
Crucial point.
Yeah.
Okay, how might all this change their actual interpersonal skills, their relationships?
That's a key worry. Do
Yeah.
they generalize AI dynamics where they're in control to human interactions? Become more egocentric or impatient?
The politeness debate again. If you don't have to be polite to a machine.
Does it affect how you treat people? If you can interrupt or ignore AI consequence-free, does that make you less considerate offline?
Plausible. And if AI starts fulfilling social functions, does that reduce time spent learning cooperation, negotiation with peers?
It could. Even family dynamics might shift if kids see AI as the ultimate authority over parents.
That image of everyone in the car plugged into their own AI.
It was sobering.
It highlights the need for real offline connection.
Definitely. Interpersonal skills need human practice. AI doesn't get offended, doesn't have needs. It's not full rehearsal for real relationships.
And the impact on ethical and moral development.
Super complex. If kids see AI make mistakes or say problematic things, how do they process that? They might normalize wrong info if they trust the AI.
Although, maybe seeing AI be wrong could foster healthy questioning. but that needs existing critical thinking skills.
Right. And since AI lacks real emotions or conscience, moral scenarios played out with it might lack the emotional weight needed for lessons to stick.
Parental guidance, discussing values around AI content, seems critical.
Absolutely. And finally, privacy and psychological safety. Massive issues.
Kids sharing personal info without realizing the risks.
Exactly. And potential psychological harm if AI store shares beta or says inappropriate or threatening things. The lines blur between AI friends and strangers.
Education on data privacy, digital citizenship is non-negotiable. And tech companies have a huge responsibility here for safe design.
They absolutely do. So the takeaway across ethics, emotions, social skills, AI cannot replace human connection. Its presence demands extra awareness and careful guidance from adults.
Prioritizing real relationships, real play, active mediation around AI use. That seems paramount.
It is. Discussing interactions, setting boundaries, that helps mitigate risks.
Okay, let's make this more concrete. Let's look at some of those case studies from the last few years. Examples of positive supervised use first.
Yeah, there's a great one from Kentucky, an AI-augmented classroom writing project. A fifth-grade teacher, Donnie Piercy, used ChatGPT creatively.
How so?
Not to write for students, but to generate prompts, personalize play scripts for reading practice. Kids became characters in AI-assisted plays.
Oh, cool. And the kids edited and added to the scripts themselves.
Exactly. AI was the springboard, not the author. The teacher saw engagement in reading and writing soar, and the students got it. AI as a tool used safely. Transparency and tasks requiring student thought were key.
That's a brilliant example of leveraging AI motivation without sacrificing learning. What about home use?
There's an interesting case from Sydney. A parent and their 10-year-old daughter using a Scratch coding AI assistant together.
She was stuck on a game scoring system.
Right. And instead of just giving the answer, the parent and child queried the AI together for ideas. Then, crucially, the parent guided the daughter to understand and implement the code herself.
So she got the help, but still had that I did it moment.
Exactly. It boosted her confidence, she learned something, and she actually went on to add more complex stuff to her game. Active co-use, targeted query that made it work.
Those sound really positive. Supervised, purposeful. Now the flip side. Cautionary tales. Where did unsupervised or overused AI cause problems?
Well, that screen time spike during lockdown is relevant. More unsupervised time meant some kids chatted with general AIs, not necessarily child-safe ones.
Like Cleverbot or Replica. And it wasn't always harmless.
No. We heard about an 11-year-old getting emotionally confused by deep chats with an AI friend about mature topics.
And a 9-year-old getting frustrated and rude to siblings when Alexa didn't understand.
Exactly. It shows unsupervised AI can fill a social gap poorly, even harmfully. Parental awareness is so important, especially during stress.
What about getting too into even educational apps?
Good question. The adaptive learning app addiction case from California. A fourth-grade class used a gamified AI math app. One kid got obsessed with the leaderboard.
Staying up late, rushing other work.
Yeah, and his scores on the app were high, but his actual understanding of the math wasn't improving. His motivation shifted to just winning the game.
So intrinsic motivation for math decreased.
Exactly. It shows even educational AI needs balance. Time limits, mixing it with other activities. Engagement metrics aren't always the same as learning.
Okay, and AI in special education.
Yeah.
You mentioned promise and caution there.
Right. That London case study with a social robot for autistic kids, it showed promise some nonverbal kids spoke to the robot, some improved initiating interactions in that setting.
That sounds potentially amazing.
It does, but limitations too. Attachment issues with the robot, AI struggling with atypical speech, skills not always transferring to humans. So, helpful as a supplement, but needs close human oversight, not a magic bullet.
Precisely. And there were even unintended effects, like a child picking up the robot's robotic intonation.
Wow. Okay, these case studies really illustrate the nuances. What are the big best practice themes emerging from all this?
Supervision and co-use. Absolutely critical. Time limits and balance with offline life. Aligning AI use with clear educational goals. Transparency about how AI works.
Choosing safe, child-friendly tools. Encouraging critical thinking about AI output.
Yes. And monitoring the individual child's response, adjusting as needed. Plus, having those open talks about the social and ethical side of AI.
It really hammers home that introducing AI needs to be thoughtful, intentional, ongoing work.
It really does.
So wrapping up this deep dive, what are the absolute key takeaways for parents, for educators?
The big one is, early AI exposure is complex. There are potential upsides, but real risks. The strong message from our sources is protect foundational skills first. Human interaction, real-world experience that comes first. Then maybe look to responsibly augment specific learning areas with AI, but always with adult guidance and purpose.
Exactly. And stay super aware of those potential ethical, emotional, social impacts, digital attachment, relationship changes. Be watchful.
The case studies really showed that best practices, supervision, limits, safety, critical thinking, monitoring, discussion are what make the difference.
Absolutely.
So as AI gets woven more deeply into our kids' lives, the onus is on us parents, educators, caregivers to be informed, be proactive. Really think skills first when considering AI.
Which brings us to a final thought question for you, the listener. What if the most important skill we teach kids in the AI age isn't just how to use AI, but when not to?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on actively promoting digital downtime? Seeing it not just as nice to have, but as a core developmental need for kids today.
Something to mull over. We encourage you to reflect, maybe discuss it with others, and keep checking resources from places like Common Sense Media, UNICEF for ongoing guidance.
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.